I mean real Western songs and songs about love. I think I really enjoy love songs because I believe everyone in the world enjoys love songs. They last a little longer and stay around longer. How did a poor boy from Arizona's deserts who grew up being abused and not having enough food become a country music star and a bold NASCAR driver? Marty Robbins' life was very interesting. The fame and excitement of the stage and the racetrack could not hide the personal tragedies and constant health problems that he had to deal with. Robbins loved everything he did, from famous songs like El Paso and Big Iron to heart-stopping runs on the track. However, he died suddenly of a third heart attack just days after finishing his last record. This ended a life that was both short and brilliant. Let's look into Marty Robbins' emotional journey. He turned every problem into a timeless melody, and he left the world the way he found it, burning brightly and leaving an everlasting mark. Early life. Marty Robbins was born Martin David Robinson on September 26, 1925, in Glendale, Arizona. He grew up in a poor and hardscrabble small desert town. Huge and poor, the Robbins family lived with an abusive father named Jack Robinson. Robinson was a heavy drinker, and his violent behavior left emotional scars on Marty that would never fully recover. Because their home was so small and stuffy, Marty quickly understood that he would have to make his own way if he wanted to get away from his situation. Marty's parents split up when he was 12 years old in 1937. Emma was his mother. She was strong and raised the kids by herself while working as a laundress to make money. Marty and his brothers moved into a makeshift house in Glendale, but it was hard for them to stay alive every day. Emma taught her kids to be persistent, even though things were bad for them. She became Marty's first source of motivation. Even though Marty had a hard childhood, there were times when he felt loved and inspired. Texas Bob Heckel, his grandpa, was a great storyteller, a traveling salesman, and a healer in the area. Texas Bob would tell stories around a campfire about the American West, where brave cowboys faced danger and gunslingers fought in the hot sun. Marty was fascinated by these vivid stories, which later gave him ideas for many of his famous songs, such as Big Iron. Marty once talked about those times after his parents got divorced. He dropped out of Glendale High School to work and support his family. It was hard work for Marty to do things like dig ditches, drive trucks, carry ice, and help mechanics. His early years of hard work in the hot Arizona sun not only made him strong, but they also made him determined to take any chance that came his way. When Marty was 17, he joined the U.S. military and got that chance. Navy at the height of World War II. He was stationed in the Solomon Islands in the Pacific as a coxswain on LCT boats. Life during the war was very different from the hard times he had been through before. But this is where Marty found his first love: music. To pass the time, he learned to play the guitar, wrote his first songs, and got lost in the Hawaiian music that people around him played. The seeds of his creative genius were planted in this difficult but life-changing setting. Marty Robbins' early life was full of both hard truths and glimmerings of hope. From the Western stories his grandfather told him to the sweaty fields and haunting music of his time in the Navy, Marty built up a strength that wouldn't let hardship define him. These important events in his life laid the groundwork for his amazing rise to fame early career. Marty Robbins brought back from World War II a guitar and the first tunes he had written while he was in the Army in 1947. But things were still hard in Glendale, Arizona, where he grew up. Still poor, Marty set out on a journey to find fame and fortune, determined to change his fate. A long time ago, Marty used to play in Phoenix's small bars and nightclubs. People started to notice the lively sounds of his guitar. But there was a catch: his mother, Emma, strongly didn't want him to sing in places like that. Marty changed his name to Jack Robinson so as not to bother her. He could keep his musical activity secret with this alias, and it also gave him a chance to try out different styles and find his own voice as a singer. It wasn't long before people in the area noticed how talented Marty was. He began to build a small fan base at local shows thanks to his warm baritone voice, emotionally charged acts, and natural ability to connect with the crowd. Marty's work took a big step forward when he started to be on KTYL radio and then the Phoenix-based Western Caravan TV show on KPHO TV. This platform helped him develop his singing style and connect with more people. In 1951, when Marty Robbins was making Western Caravan, he met little Jimmy Dickens, who was a famous country music star and member of the Grand Ole Opry. This was the turning point. Dickens saw Marty's unique talent right away and used his power to get him a recording deal with Columbia Records. This was Marty's way to get to a bigger stage. It took him from small places in Arizona to the bright lights of Nashville. Still, the path to success wasn't easy, but Marty never gave up. From playing late-night gigs in smoky bars, he slowly became known as an artist with a lot of depth and creativity. The chance to work with Columbia Records not only proved how talented he was, but it also showed that he could reach his goals. In every song, Marty kept singing about love, pain, and hopes that would never go away. People began to respond to these melodies, setting the stage for the legendary success that was to come. If you've ever listened to a Marty Robbins song and felt like you could really relate to it, that's the power of a celebrity. He did more than write music. He told the stories of regular people, like us, with all his heart. The success of Marty Robbins' work. After getting off to a strong start, Marty Robbins' career took off like a shooting star. He went from small stages in Arizona to becoming an iconic figure in American country music through natural ability, unwavering hard work, and a unique style of music. It was an inspiring journey, and each hit song and story he told through music added to a memory that will last forever. Marty Robbins made history in country music in 1952 with his first #1 hit, "I'll Go On Alone." Fans fell in love with the song right away because of its touching melody and words. After this success, Marty kept making #1 songs like Singing the Blues, A White Sports Coat, and A Pink Carnation. His song, Singing the Blues, not only won the country charts, but it also got to #17 on the pop charts. This was the start of a successful career that crossed over into other genres. His impact grew even stronger when he wore a white sports coat and a pink carnation. The song sold millions of copies and became a classic of 1950s American music. Marty Robbins' career reached its peak when El Paso came out in 1959. It was a masterpiece that told a story of love and sadness in the American Southwest. The song became a musical phenomenon thanks to its catchy tune and moving story. It went beyond country music and became a national pop chart hit. Marty won the first ever Grammy Award for country music for El Paso. This made him the first country artist to really break into the pop market. Every note in the song took people into a vivid story and made them feel the deep love and sadness that were at its core. This song not only made Marty a legend in country music, but it also helped other country acts break into the mainstream music market. Marty surprised fans again in 1961 with the song Don't Worry. The song is known for the unique distorted guitar sound that came about by accident and changed the way music was made. A blown fuse during recording messed up the sound of the guitar, but Marty liked the effect so much that he kept it in the final version. It was a huge hit that not only ruled the charts but also marked a big step forward in musical creativity, influencing new sounds in country music and other styles. Marty Robbins had a great time in the 1960s. During the decade, he had more than 31 country hits, and many of them also made it to the pop lists. Some songs, like Devil Woman, Big Iron, and Ribbon of Darkness, will always be loved. As people listened to Devil Woman, their hearts were broken by its raw emotion and strong melody about love and betrayal. At the same time, Big Iron took listeners to heroic stories set in the Wild West, which made Marty think of his childhood memories with his grandpa. Ribbon of Darkness, which Marty wrote during a rough time in his life, showed how he could use personal pain and feeling to make art that touched people deeply. Marty Robbins did more than just sing. He also tried acting and was in a number of Western movies, including Ballad of a Gunfighter 1964 and Hell on Wheels 1967. Even though Marty's movie parts weren't as successful as his music roles, they showed how versatile he was and how much he loved Western culture, which he had loved since he was a child. Marty learned new things about art through these shows, and they also helped him connect with more people, especially Western culture fans. Marty Robbins had an impact on people all over the world, not just in the United States. In English-speaking countries like the UK and Australia, his hits, especially El Paso, got a lot of praise. People were drawn to his unique storytelling style and emotional voice. Marty brought the essence of American country music to people all over the world with his heartfelt songs and captivating stories. Marty Robbins wrote hits that will last forever because he was always passionate and creative. He made a name for himself at every stage of his work, and people will always remember him as an icon. It wasn't all stories that Marty Robbins told. Through his music, he lived them, making sure that his influence would last for generations. Married life and personal life. Marty Robbins' life wasn't just the stage lights and the cheers of the crowd. Behind the image of a talented artist was a man who had to deal with a lot of problems, losses, and inner conflicts. Marty's life was not easy. He had to deal with a demanding job, his health getting worse, and dangerous situations on the tracks. Marty Baldwin married Marizona Baldwin in 1948. She has been by his side since the beginning of his work. Marty's marriage lasted his whole life, through many storms and difficulties. Ronnie Robbins followed in his father's path into the country music scene, though he never became as famous as Marty. Their other child, Janet Robbins, is a musician with her own style who likes to play rock and ambient music. Both of Marty's children continued the family singing tradition, but they did so in different ways. Marty's work, the long tours, and his love of racing put a lot of stress on the family, but their love for each other stayed strong. Because Marty was away for long periods of time at races or shows, Marizona took care of the family by herself. She never left his side, though, and their love was there for them when things got hard. But the stress at home was only a small part of the problems Marty had to deal with. Marty became famous quickly as a country singer with a unique Western storytelling style, but he also got a lot of bad reviews in the 1960s and 1970s. When pop and rock and roll were popular, Marty's Western-themed music was often thought to be out of date. Some record makers told him to follow what was popular at the time, but Marty, who was very independent, wouldn't give in. He never gave up on his artistic vision, even when it caused problems at work and led to abuse. His unwavering commitment to being real became a key part of his lasting impact. When Marty turned down record labels' requests to change the content of his songs, it caused one of the biggest problems in his business. He was determined to keep writing songs with real Western images and stories. The music business put a lot of pressure on them to give in, which made professional relationships difficult. But Marty thought it was more important to stay true to his work than to please critics. Marty tried his hand at acting as well as singing. In 1964, he was in Ballad of a Gunfighter. and in 1967 he was in Hell on Wheels. His work in movies didn't get as much attention as his singing, but it showed how versatile he was and how much he loved Western culture, which had been a part of him since childhood. A famous story says that Marty once refused to film a scene because he didn't think it fit with the image of a cowboy he wanted to show. This strong moral stand may have made him less interested in becoming an actor, but it made people appreciate him as an honest man. Marty also had a lot of health problems during his time. In 1969, he had his first heart attack while on tour, which led to bypass surgery. Despite doctors' warnings, Marty went back on tour just a few months later, keeping up a busy pace. He once said, "I'm not afraid of dying so I can live more fully." But he never stopped pursuing his interests, and it hurt his health. Each show was like fighting for air. At the Winston 500 in 1972, Marty shocked the racing world by taking off on purpose his car's restrictor plate, which was required by NASCAR to keep speeds in check. Because he was brave, he was able to finish laps 15 miles per hour faster than his qualifying times. Even though NASCAR tried to give him the Rookie of the Race award, Marty turned it down, saying, "I just wanted to know what it felt like to run with the leaders just once." Even though he got fined for this bold move, fans and fellow riders alike respected him for being honest and not giving up. After 2 years, at the Charlotte 500 in 1974, Marty had an accident that could have killed him. Looking for Richard Childress's. When the car in front of Marty stopped, he had to decide whether to crash into it or steer into the wall. He made his choice right away and jumped against the wall. This kept Childress safe but hurt him badly and almost lost his right eye. Marty's selfless action showed how much he cared about saving others, even if it cost him a lot. Marty continued to live intensely, both on stage and in the racetrack, even though his health was getting worse. Marty had to go to the hospital for his second heart attack in 1981, but he soon got back to acting. The worst thing that happened to him was that he had a third heart attack in December 1982, just one day after his last show in Cincinnati. Marty was rushed to the hospital for emergency bypass surgery, but his body wasn't strong enough to heal. His life was full of ups and downs, but it was also full of inspiration. He died on December 8, 1982. In his later years, Marty also had problems with the press. Reports that made his health sound bad made him very upset, which led to a rare public reaction. "I don't need sympathy from the media. I'd rather be known for my music than for some crazy news stories." Even with these problems, Marty's public reputation stayed clean. His fans always saw him as an honest man who lived and breathed his art. Marty Robbins' personal life showed how strong, honest, and passionate someone can be. He left behind a tradition that continues to inspire and last through love, sacrifice, and a never-ending search for authenticity, history, and power. Over the course of 35 years, Marty Robbins went beyond being an artist and became an iconic figure who will always be remembered in both music and sports. During his long and successful career, he won many awards, including 2 Grammys. The first was for his famous song El Paso, which made American country music even bigger and better, notably the Country Music Association's Award of Artist of the Decade. It was a well-deserved honor for all the work he had done for the genre. He got the most prestigious awards when he was admitted into the Country Music Hall of Fame in 1982. This cemented his place in the history of country music. Marty's impact went beyond music, though. He changed NASCAR forever with his love for the sport. As a skilled driver, Marty finished in the top 10 6 times, which is pretty amazing for someone who had never been in a professional race before. While he was still alive, NASCAR honored him by holding the Marty Robbins 420 race. This showed how much the racing world respected him. The purple and green paint job on his famous race cars has made them lasting images in NASCAR history. The Dodge Magnum, one of his most famous cars, is kept in good shape at the Talladega Museum. It continues to tell the story of his fiery love of speed. Marty Robbins was tragically killed at the age of 57, but his music lives on and has influenced many current country artists. His stories with Western themes and unique way of writing songs set a standard for singers like Garth Brooks and Keith Urban. Marty's life story has also been made more interesting by his performances on TV shows and NASCAR documentaries. He wasn't just an artist or a driver, he was also a storyteller, an inspiration and a leader who broke rules to follow his dreams. From classic songs like El Paso to exciting races, time will never be able to erase the mark that Marty Robbins made. A true legend in both music and life, he shows how strong desire and hard work can be. His life was truly amazing. He went from being a poor kid in Arizona to becoming a famous figure in both country music and speed. Not only did his heartfelt songs captivate people, but he also lived his life with fire and refused to give up no matter what. From classic songs like El Paso to dangerous moments on the NASCAR track, Marty Robbins left a legacy that goes beyond art. His steadfast determination has inspired many. Marty Robbins was more than just an artist, he was a symbol of passion and drive. He showed that you can do great things even when things get hard. All you have to do is keep your faith and follow your dreams. People will always remember him through his songs and the story of a man who lived his whole life for his art, himself and his family. What do you think about Marty Robbins' life and work? Leave your thoughts in the space below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to help music fans all over the world remember Marty Robbins. We will see you in the next show.